James is having some dumpling kabobs with mango and celery, red pepper, and some broccoli. And I'm having a chocolate smoothie. He's having a tangerine milkshake, and I'm having that. It doesn't look as good when it's presented that way. I'm going to talk about Lawless Oceans a bit, Frasier Season 1, Frasier Season 2, and those are the dumplings. And I didn't do them as directed, but I cooked them even longer than they're supposed to be cooked, so we'll see. It says on the back to put some oil on them and stuff, I think. But anyway, the sauce came with if you want to eat the sauce, and there's fork and knife for dissection if you decide you don't want to eat the dumpling as a whole, and I understand that. So,
yeah.
But we were given the dumplings. I'm very thankful, and the dogs may end up being very thankful.
Well, we'll see.
And if James eats them, that's fine too. Whatever. So, Lawless Oceans. This is a 2-disc set, and the one DVD does not want to stay in the case. I know, it's so annoying.
Can't they get things right?
So anyway, and it's not broken either. The case isn't broken. It just doesn't want to stay in there. So anyway, and that's unfortunate because it would have happened for a long time that this disc didn't want to stay in the case, presumably, because when I tried to play it, it did not play. So
hit the floor many times. Huge big surprise.
Or just juggled around in the case so long that
people.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see. I'm going to try it on the Blu-ray player that I just borrowed from the library. Maybe it's more able to read things like that. I don't know, because this is one of those purple sort of discs, and it doesn't look that badly scratched up. Like, it is, you can see the scratches, but I mean, the players played more scratched up things than that. So anyway, so I put in so much time watching the first disc, and then I get to the second one, it plays a while and it's skipping, and then it doesn't play, and I'm like, I don't know how this ends. But, so I might get back to you on this. I'll tell you, for now, I gave it the top of the stack, but because it is an important subject, Lawless Oceans it's not what I thought it would be. I thought they were going to talk more about, different species getting, like a fish and whatever, getting just overfished and whatever. I thought that's what it was going to be about. And they do touch on that a little bit. They do touch on like really creepy practices, like shark fin. What do you call that?
Superstition.
Getting so, going out in the wild and taking shark's fins. Creepy.
It's for some sort of medicinal.
No.
Superstitious thing.
No, they eat them.
It's a delicacy. Okay.
Yeah. You can go order it here, which should be illegal. Any restaurants that's serving shark fin soup should be shut down. Plain and simple. So, but I know that you can get it here because when I was living in Calgary and my ex-boyfriend was working for, I won't say the company or anything, but he was working for a company where 2 of the bosses were Asian, and the one boss in particular really seemed to like me, and I think it was because I was blonde, honestly, looking back at things, but he really seemed to like Silas too. And anyway, so he really wanted to impress us. There was this Christmas dinner that they took, like the owners took all the employees out to. It was very nice, very fancy Christmas dinner. And I was allowed to go along too. The spouses were allowed to come along. And I think even the children of the employees, they were very nice to my ex and, everyone who worked there. Anyway, so one of the like they were ordering all sorts of fancy things. One was had pea. One dish had pea shoots, and the one owner was explaining to me how they harvest the pea shoots at dawn. You know, when there's dew on the shoot still, and all this. You know, it's like this big thing, right? He's explaining this to me, and I'm like, wow, that's really great. And yeah, it tastes nice and whatever.
Like
but
feng shui. But...
So, and he thought, well, since Silas was vegetarian, I was vegetarian. Like they checked ahead of time. They really wanted to impress us, and they thought, okay, well, we'll get all fish dishes.
Okay.
So neither one of us ate fish, and and it was a wonderful restaurant, very fancy and everything. And they served shark fin soup. That was one of the courses. And I was not impressed. But you know, they were trying, and I was impressed by the fact that they were trying. But shark fin soup, come on. So anyway,
gotta give them huge credit for trying.
Yes.
Some things don't work out.
Yes, some things don't work out. So it's anyway. Lawless Oceans. So this. It's really about, like, they have warning. This is very different for National Geographic. I did not expect this when I borrowed this from the library and put it on the player. Did not expect this at all. So there's this guy he's on the cover here with this camera.
Looking stubby. Trying.
Because he's basically, this is set up like NCIS or something like that, like a show, one of the or cops or something like that, right? But of the oceans. And so this guy, he kind of looks like Jim from The Office, and he seems like a really nice, not too bright guy, but he has a good moral compass, and he's trying to do the job right, and he's set out to catch criminals of the
deep
of the seas, of the lawless oceans.
Yeah, there's way too many of them.
There's way too many of them.
If you were going after the worst, he wouldn't be shooting with a camera. You'd have to be shooting with
incredible. So it really, watching this, I did get frustrated a few times, because here he's going after, he shows this crime where people have been murdered. They filmed it. It went on to, somebody put the video onto, they don't know where the video came from originally. They don't know anything about this, but somebody put it onto YouTube. So he tracked down the person who put it onto YouTube, and then was trying to find out, okay, well, where'd you get the video? This and that. She doesn't want to give her source away, and this and that, as people are worried about their lives. I mean,
legitimately so.
Yeah, because people have been shot. The video shows people out floating in the water with like broken piece of boat or whatever, presumably, that they're hanging on to, and people on a boat are shooting at them and killing them. So it does give warnings that there's some explicit scenes. You see it from far away. So, and nowadays you see so much on TV. I don't know that this would really disturb too many viewers, because people are used to seeing pretty
CSI, Las Vegas.
Sure, whatever.
It's all picked up, but
yeah.
I hope.
So anyway, there's sometimes, like, where at first he gets an expert in. I guess they're trying to do the CSI thing and show, oh, look, we can get experts who know how to do some fancy computer stuff or whatever, and tech stuff. Anyway, so he gets this guy who records the sound of the gun and figures out. First he's shooting a gun and going, okay, I think it's this kind of gun, and then it's confirmed by this guy when he records shooting in the water, this in a similar sort of environment and whatever. But it's like, okay, so I think it turned out to be AK-47s. Now, how many AK-47s are in the world? If there were only like three kinds of guns or something like that, or even if there were 100 kinds of guns, but you knew which, like, only maybe 3 people had one of the kinds of guns, then that would matter. But it doesn't matter. You couldn't possibly track down who was shooting the guns or who the guns even belonged to from the sound of the gun. So why? Why waste time on that? Why show us that? Why show us how you're wasting money? Because, I mean, somebody's paying you for this job to, shoot guns and get some guy to record and figure out what's the point. So there were things like that where I'm watching, I'm going, what a waste of money. Well, this guy should not be in charge of this operation because he is clueless about which direction to actually go to put the resources into. I mean, he's flying. There's one point where they're looking for this boat, and we know that this boat is docked right now. So he flies halfway across the world to go find that docked boat. Well,
instead of getting on the horn and getting something to do it, well, there might be
over there. Who knows? But he goes over there. What's the chance that it's going to still be docked? Well, it's not. He gets there. It's not docked anymore. It's gone.
It's just a little phone call.
So
didn't even have to
all
be a
of that.
smart boat.
So he's. This is just a big junket where he's going all over the world and doing all sorts of things to catch these guys, and it's like, oh my gosh. So there's a bit of frustration that way when you're watching it, if you have any sense at all. But still, this is an important issue. And it really they reveal a lot of information about how it's not just like you're watching this at first and you're like, what? People are killing other people over like fishing, being able to fish and whatever. That's ridiculous. And then later on you realize, oh wait, it's not fish, because they'll actually hide other things in the boats, like drugs. So who knows what it is, but I didn't get to the end, so I don't know what happened. So I'll maybe share that with you later, because I'm going to try to get to the end of that.
I'm going to point out that we're dealing with aggressive propagandists, even the good guys, right?
Yeah.
You notice what the boat is that he's posing on. It's called Buccaneer, which is pirate. That's
funny.
even more ridiculous. Remember the Sea Shepherd?
Yeah.
That anarchist idiot? Yeah. And that was a TV show, I think. It had many episodes, didn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, he's going all over the world. This is just it's kind of making you feel like, okay, yeah, they need to shut down his department because he's...
Who is he advertising for,
I don't
Pauline?
know. Well, it's a National Geographic show.
But he's advertising for himself.
Yeah.
That's
well,
what it's
anyway,
about.
Frasier season 1. This is, I mean, you can tell Frasier's a lot older here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Little
you know that
porkier.
this is not the original Frasier series, but this is...
It's the original Frasier, or Frasier,
is,
whatever his name is.
Still, Kelsey Grammer's still going. So this was put out 2024.
Yeah.
So this one, a little bit, well, it says 2025 on the DVD.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, this one was 2023 when you watched it on TV probably, and then released on the DVD 2024. So anyway, pretty recently. So instead you have like Frasier's dad's dead. It starts out with he's just come back from a funeral, and he's wants to see his son because his dad has left a gift for the son, and the son hadn't shown up at the funeral. And so that's how it starts out. And I mean, we're sad that the dad is dead, because he was great part of the original show, but that's a little bit much stuff.
The guy died in real life.
Yep. And the son looks to be the same actor that played the son, I think. But I don't know. I haven't looked that up. But anyway, and you have Niall's son is going to Harvard, so this one's set in Boston, and so Niall's son is there, and
But Niles isn't.
But Niles isn't so far, and neither is Daphne.
Yeah.
But instead, he has his quirky, maybe alcoholic, best friend who's
Definitely.
who's working at Harvard,
God. Yeah.
and he
Well,
has a
avoiding
British
work at
accent, so
Harvard.
you have that. So
Mhm.
instead of Daphne, you have that, and then Roz does show up,
Oh, she
and
does.
BB does show up,
I
but
don't know who BB
I don't.
is.
BB's his agent.
Okay.
She's like a vampire. She's really
Okay.
nobody
I
likes
don't
her,
recall.
but she's good at in the role. Anyway, so they don't stay though because they live elsewhere, presumably. But yeah, I can't. So they want to have Frasier living with somebody that's sort of like how his dad was.
Yeah.
So his son ends up, he's a really smart guy, but he doesn't want to act like it. And he dropped out of Harvard to become a fireman. So he's just a average kind of working guy. And that's a lot like Frasier's dad was a policeman, right?
Yeah.
So that's what
Very
they're trying
perceptive,
for.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really. So what happens is Frasier has made lots and lots of money because he had his own TV show in between the two Frasier series. So he shows up at his son's apartment and one day, and then he's decided he's going to live in town and work at Harvard. And so he's bought he shows his son his new apartment, which is right across the hall. And he says, well, he's bought the apartment building.
The whole building?
The whole building.
Oh, wow.
And he wants his son to live in the apartment with him because he wants to, it's a big apartment, and he wants to catch up with him and whatever. Like, so, but, so then he leaves the woman that had been living with the son. He says, your rent is, you don't have to pay rent and everything as long as my son comes and lives with me.
We're
But it's
right
not
in the same
believable.
apartment?
Right in the same apartment because they wanted that.
Wow, a
that
formula
sort
for
of,
unsuccess.
Yeah, I know. They wanted it to be like his dad, but with his dad, it made sense. His dad needed somebody to care for him and all that. And,
He was limping around.
yeah, but with his son, this doesn't make sense. That his son
No,
would
his
stay
son's
there.
not limping around.
I mean, his son
does.
does want the woman with her kid to be cared for, so. But I still don't think that would make him stay in the apartment. And I really, really don't like the woman who has the son. She's a bad character in this show. Nobody would like her. She does things like she'll just decide to eat some, like there's one episode where they'd ordered a fancy Frasier and his best friend had ordered a fancy ham from Spain that was only fed like acorns or something like that because they wanted to relive the experience when they first became friends, like many decades ago. So this is a special thing, a special gift for his friend and himself.
Yeah.
But she starts eating it before they get to it. And it's like, whoa, who would do that? Nobody would do that. You'd have to be a really bad person so she's just awful. And
That's her, right?
Yeah, I can't stand her.
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm on season 2 now. I don't know if I'll get through it because I just can't stand that woman so much. She's really awful. They never should have put her in.
Unfortunately, she does a reasonably good job of playing this awful character.
Yeah, I know, but would you want to...
It doesn't belong in the comedy.
No. So, you have 10 minutes to talk about whatever you want.
Well, let's just talk about the lack of Niles.
Oh, yeah, Yeah, because he hasn't showed up yet, so I don't know if he will.
That Niles and Frasier kind of reminded you of me and my older brother.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, kind of reminds me of them. Though they kind of remind me of my brother now. Mm-hmm. And I did point out the difference. my brother, except with me, wasn't such a pompous ass as Frasier. Very much the older brother figure. And Niles and Frasier are shown as basically valuing the same things and having the same skills. So it becomes a huge competition to see who can outdo whom in knowledge of wines, knowledge of food, knowledge of art, knowledge of literature, and knowledge of languages.
So, I mean, they put this Niles' son in here to kind of replace Niles, but it doesn't work.
Is he as pompous as Niles?
No.
Okay, so what's the point?
And he's not, there's no competition there.
No.
So
Yeah.
There's no point in him,
Now, as I pointed out to Pauline, I'd noticed the similarity, but, like, I didn't want to declare myself as an English major, that's what my brother got a PhD in. I ended up emphasizing writing poetry. He wanted to emphasize writing novels, stuff like that. Never got published. Never got published. When it came to critical work, I don't think he actually did much. Anyway, but that's where the similarity ended. They finds my brother loved fancy food. I eat fancy food. You're looking at it right now. It's just about me. But I don't like restaurant food. When I used to hit restaurants, I didn't live high on the hog the way Frasier did, or presumably Niles did, or the way my brother did. He was teaching at university, and he loved restaurant food, and so often he wouldn't even be going out to a restaurant, just ordering restaurant food. And that's one of the things that killed him. He ended up with gout and then diabetes. That and a very sedentary lifestyle. I don't get the impression that Niles and Frasier care much about sports, much less are any good at them. Well, I'm not like Niles. They're good at certain languages like French and Latin. But where do they go from there? I don't hear them yapping Greek that much. That's a classical language. I don't hear them talking Hebrew. You see, so Pauline once said, like, you're largely about languages, Jane. So I was saying, yeah, but I use them for something. Like I study ancient history really hard. So I don't. One guy once said to me, "How can you study all these languages?" And I say, "Well, it's I kind of joke. It's to keep the professors in line, because when it comes to ancient history, they've got so much wrong. They've got their chronology wrong. If you've got your chronology, in other words, the backbone of history, the dates, the sequence of dates wrong, everything that comes from that is going to be wrong." I'll give you an example. I can remember studying, there was a guy who used to teach art history. He's great. Charlie Crane was his name. And he lived up to the name. They say, if your ancestor was called Crane and you inherited the name, your ancestor probably had long stilt-like legs. And Charlie Crane looked as though he didn't inherit his legs from not to an ancestor. And ancient art history, we go along, huge devotion to Egyptian stuff, ancient Egyptian stuff. Then it said Egyptian art fell into a period between 1200 BC and 700 BC where it was hardly any, it was just copies of what came before. And then he starts showing Assyrian art, which falls into that period. Well, Egyptian chronology is for that period doesn't exist. What happens is they've got dynasties, lists and sequence that actually ruled at the same time, and the same time as a dynasty that they've got ending maybe 1150 BC, the 20th dynasty. The 20th dynasty went down not from roughly 1200, 1100 BC. It ruled, and this is exact date, 719 down to 756, or rather 656 BC. 719 exact date, 756. By that point in time, it was over. All these other dynasties that followed the 20th dynasty, according to the traditional chronology, 21st, 22nd, 25th, 24th, 25th, and 26th, Ethiopian dynasty. No, 25th Ethiopian dynasty, 26th the Saite dynasty. They all ruled at the same time as the 20th dynasty. They weren't really ruling. The Ethiopians were maintaining independence. We call them Ethiopians. They came from the Sudan. And then all the rest were cat's paws of the Assyrians. The Assyrians had played divide and conquer. So the Assyrian chronology is good, going back year by year to 911 BC. The Egyptian chronology is just adrift. It's got this huge, what they call dark age, basically. So if you pull down Egyptian chronology to where it makes sense, where the New Kingdom basically is a little bit before and contemporaneous with the Neo-Assyrian Empire, then all this Egyptian stuff that Charlie Crane, he wasn't paid to research this. He wasn't a historian. Was saying was kind of anticipatory, or absolutely anticipatory of the Assyrian art. It's contemporary with it. The Assyrians are drawing fantastic lines, like like hammered. We don't have their art, like their two-dimensional art. Well, we do have reliefs, but not painting. And this stuff didn't survive in the Assyrian climate. It's northern Iraq. But there's sculpture. It's amazing. Amazing. They had a civilization that was competing with Egypt, and eventually basically ended native Assyrian rulers for all time. The 26th dynasty, which was a revival after the 20th dynasty, kind of overlapped with it. The 20th dynasty. The second ruler was basically half Assyrian. He was the son of an Assyrian princess, married off to an Egyptian king. So the Assyrians are amazing. From 720 BC to 656 BC, they just cut and diced Egypt up, and into as many as 20 principalities. In 666 BC, Ashurbanipal, the great Assyrian conqueror and ruler,